Hey, gun people of YouTube. I mean, I'd imagine probably gun people of YouTube, people that are interested in guns. If you weren't interested in guns, you probably wouldn't watch a video about guns. I wanted to make a short video illustrating the differences between a Colt single action army, 1873, and a Ruger single action because they're both single actions. They are both very similar, but the way they operate is very different. So I will start out with the Colt single action right here. Although this is not a Colt because I can't afford a Colt because they are expensive. This is a Chippewa firearms. For its price point, it's a fine firearm, especially if you can get it for $80 in almost new condition. Ooh. It functions the same as a traditional Colt 1873 single action army. You have a loading gate, you have an ejector rod, which isn't an injector rod. Isn't going to move right now because the cylinder's not lined up, and I'll show you how to do that right now. It has two cocked positions. You have a half cock, a fully cocked, and in order to rotate the cylinder freely, you put it at half cock. At half cock, the hammer will not fall. You open the loading gate, you rotate it through, filling the cylinders, but you'll only put 5 rounds in this. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was an empty shell casing. It wasn't loaded. And the reason why you'll put 5 in this gun is because you'll want to lower this hammer on an empty cylinder. Because since this is based off of a real Colt single action, even though it is not, but it's the same idea. There is no bar or safety in between the hammer and the firing pin. So if you lower this, and especially if you have one that's a 22 long rifle such as this, and you lower this onto a live round in that chamber, you could definitely smack that firing pin into that round and set it off. So in a traditional Colt single action 6-round chamber, only load it with 5 and put it on empty chamber. I think a lot of people out there would know that, but if you don't know it, you don't want to find out by having one go off and like go down the side of your leg or into your foot, or any one of those is probably pretty bad. Okay, this is Ruger single action. Still have to cock the hammer to rotate the cylinder and set the sear on the trigger. Still has an ejector rod. Although with this 4 3/4 inch barrel, I'll tell you, it becomes a little more difficult to really get positive extraction on the shell casings because the rod only comes out that far. But anyway, in order to rotate the cylinder on this, all you have to do is open the loading gate. You just flip the loading gate open and the cylinder rotates. But that locks out the hammer. Don't try to cock the hammer with the loading gate open. That is a no-no, and you will break parts. I can guarantee you that. Other than that, it's pretty similar, except with the Colt, with the Ruger, and just so you can see, these have no primers in them. These are test rounds for reloading, just to make sure I have my dimensions right. From when I take the press down, set it back up, take it down. I just keep a couple on hand so that way I have dummy rounds and I can show you things like this. With the Ruger, you can load up all 6 chambers. Big advantage of the Ruger system, and that's because you have, I'll use my fancy puncher, this transfer bar right here. That, unless the trigger is pulled, the hammer cannot impact the firing pin. See, when you pull the trigger, which I'm doing right now, it will drop. Well, if you pull the trigger, see there, try to get a good angle on this. There we go. See right there, I'm holding the trigger back, and as you can see, or hopefully you can see, it's in line with the firing pin. Now when I let go, that transfer bar falls away from the firing pin. And because of that, you can carry this with 6 rounds in the chamber, and you don't have to worry about accidental discharge by hitting the hammer. And hopefully that was a quick and informative video, and hopefully enjoyed it and you come away knowing something. I guess I'll take my dummy rounds out real quick. Oh, see there? Actually something important to know too, especially with the 45 Colt. Now I don't know if other calibers of these single action, the Ruger single actions, if it's so difficult, if you could maybe still get the round out. But once you've gone one click too far with this, you cannot get that round out. So there, last one. Okay. So hopefully you learned something, and hopefully that keeps somebody from hurting themselves or someone else. Thanks. Have a good day.